G'day everyone and welcome to Flock. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us there at Lyle Swithenbank as well if you're listening to the audio version, or you're already watching us here on YouTube, so welcome. And if you want to listen to the audio only version, you can get us anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Prime, whatever you want. It's there. You can get us free always, because that's how we roll here at Flock. So, the Pelicans fall 93-87 against the Portland Trailblazers in game number 3 of their Summer League campaign. Another scrappy, up and down game, where the Pelicans, had some moments of brilliance and some moments, Summer League moments. Let's call them Summer League moments, where we scratch our head and we say it's Summer League. And we just sigh and wait for October when the NBA restarts. Plenty to unpack from this. We're going to, as always, be talking through the box scores, what we like from the guys. And as we talked about in the last episode, we'll just touch on the acquisition of Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey in that CJ McCollum trade and how that's going to impact the team going forward, or hopefully how we see them impacting the team come the end of October, I guess, and perhaps probably a little bit earlier when we see them in Australia in preseason. So, we'll start with the Summer League. As I said, the Pelicans fell 93-87. That was partly due to not having a point guard, I guess, in the last 5 minutes after we had ejections across the board. We had Hoggard ejected, we had Jeremiah Fears ejected after getting in an altercation with Sissoko from the Trailblazers. And the difficulty there is, as soon as you've got someone who isn't a primary ball handler and is more of a supporting type ball carrier like Reeves or Lester Quinones, those guys then get put in a role that they're not familiar with, and they have to start forcing things. We saw a bit of Derik bringing the ball up in that last 5 minutes, and really it got away with us pretty quick. Thankfully, we weren't in any contention of winning Summer League. I think all we needed to see was the guys play hard and show something. So that is exactly what I think we saw tonight, and particularly from Derik Queen. In this game, he played 28 minutes, and he looked much more comfortable. First play of the game, straight to Queen. He went to the basket. Yeah, he got blocked, but I like the aggression, and we continued to use him in an offensive role. In that second quarter, he just started cooking. He was doing one off the wrong legged bank shots to get it in. He was going up and under. He's chasing the ball. He was playing hard, attacking Hanson Yang, who is an absolute giant, the Chinese draft pick for Portland. And honestly, I was quite impressed with Derik Queen in this one. He ended up with 17, 10 rebounds, another double-double. That's 3 for Summer League in a row. 3 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, and 5 of 11 shooting, 7 of 8 from the free throw. And that aggression, that give me the ball and let me cook aggression, I really liked. And I think he was getting a friendly whistle that perhaps he wasn't getting in the first 2 games. But he was picking and choosing where he, was throwing the head back or forcing the arms through to get those fouls. And the refs rewarded him. That's what you got to do. You got to keep playing, got to try hard. So he did that, and very impressive showing from him. Will he play in the second night of a back-to-back against Oklahoma? I'm not sure. And will he play in the last game? I don't know either. To be fair, I think he could do with the reps. I think the running, the playing, there's no harm in that. But also, it's Summer League. He's got a long summer ahead to get, some court time in. And we're only in July, so let's not overwork the guy. If we've seen what we need to see, then let's put him in cotton wool and we'll roll him out again come training camp, and he can work on his own stuff in his own time. So we'll see. He might play again. If he does, I'd say he's probably starting to get ramped down, but we'll see. So we go to the starters. We had Micah Peavy, we had Queen, Messi, Reeves, and Jeremiah Fears. Peavy had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 of 4, and missed his 3-point attempt, 3 turnovers, and turnovers again were just the worst. We were bad in turnovers with 25 for the game, and it really was the difference in this. What I like from Peavy is he looks ready-made. He looks like the sort of guy that can come in, he could give you a solid 10, 15 minutes a night. I just need you to disrupt something, just cause a bit of a ruckus, You got long arms, you're strong, you're fit, and you're athletic. I just need you to defend really hard for 10 minutes. And he would do it. I think he would do a fine job as an NBA defender. I think he's got some real nous about him. I think he's intelligent, an intelligent basketballer. And I think he was at times let down a little bit today on the break because he put himself in a good position to be a lob threat or, receiving it, and guys playing summer league, trying to fill their own stats in, took it to the basket themselves, and or perhaps thought they couldn't make the pass, which, perhaps they couldn't. I thought he played a good game. Look, they had him minus 14. I don't think he was bad. I just think overall it's summer league, and if you are a bright spark, well, credit to you, because there's not many guys that are in positive in this one. As I said, power forward was Derik Queen. Starting to get into his rhythm, as I said, 17 and 10, and we talked about his box score before. The thing I need to highlight, though, is his 8 turnovers, and that is always going to be an issue when you're trying to force it. You're bringing the ball up, you've got a lot of pressure, you're playing against a guy that's bigger than you in Hanson Yang, and he's a big man, and I think at times Queen tried to force it. He's got the mentality of, I was always bigger than everyone, and so I'm bigger and stronger, and I can continue to just try to out-muscle people. And now you're playing in a grown man's league, you're not necessarily the biggest person, you're not necessarily faster than them at your size, and yeah, you're really skilled, but you're just as skilled as everyone else. And I think you got some talent, don't get me wrong, I'm not disparaging him at all, but sometimes that overusing of the ball, and that's just going to be his Achilles heel until such time that he just gets more acclimatized and recognizes what role he's in, and we're not going to see that during the season because he's not going to have the opportunity to dribble the air out of the ball to get 8 turnovers, right? It's going to be direct. They're going to have set plays. Well, we hope that, put him in a position to be successful. I thought great game. He was a plus 10 in the advanced stats, in the plus minus. I thought he was really, really good. And in that second quarter, he carried us. So I thought he was solid, had a big and one in the last quarter, and he's getting there. So, I can see the vision. And that's all I can ask at, 3 games into Summer League, because what more can you expect? Messi, 22 minutes, he had 2 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks. He was 1 of 11. Now, this is probably more concerning than anything else that we see in this game. He looked like he was second-guessing things. He looked like completely outclassed by Hanson when he was up against him. He's getting blocked, he was missing layups, he wasn't as active, he got a couple of rebounds, but nothing spectacular. I can see that he's got stronger. I can see that. I don't know what he's been working on that is going to translate to whatever he has to do here, because you're a second-year guy, you're bigger than everyone, you sort of got to show up and lead, and I don't think Eve would be happy with that game, because he was not good. Minus 16, which was the worst on the whole team in the plus minus. He had only 1 turnover, but he just didn't do much. And when you're coming in as that second year big body, you've got to lead from the front, particularly against a team that is big. You've got to play big. So hopefully come the rest of the season, look, again, guard play will say that, you need a good guard to put you in a position to be successful, but you also got to be standing in the right spot, and you've got to be active. And I don't know if Eve was particularly active tonight. Antonio Reeves, who's having a cracker of a summer league, he had 18 points, 21 minutes, he had 3 rebounds, and he was 5-11 shooting. Missed his 3 threes, had 8 free throws, and only 1 turnover, and I thought he was solid. He scored the first 2 points of the game. The first quarter was atrocious. We scored 11 points, which was just over a point a minute. So you can imagine what that was like if you didn't watch the game. That first quarter was like, okay, let's get going. And, the Pels found themselves in a really big hole early on. Jeremiah Fears, 22 minutes before his ejection. He loves a little bit of chatter. There's a bit of Russell Westbrook about Jeremiah Fears. He's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I just love it. I love how he goes about it. He tried to posterize some guy with a big tomahawk. He had a couple of dunks. He is fast. He attacks. And he leads. He stands out there, and if there's a mistake or if there's a, missed pass or a misrotation or a missed call, he's there communicating with his team. And when you've got a young guy, 18 and a half, 19 years old, that bodes really well when you're then going to get into an NBA program where you can learn how to become a true point guard and continue to develop those skills. He had 14 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Again, assists are not his strong suit, as we can see. A couple of steals and 6 of 11. And what I saw is he was making the right reads at time, and guys missed shots. It's summer league. We weren't particularly direct, but there was a lot of shots that passes that he was making and reads that he was making that either the player wasn't as probably ready for the ball as he anticipated, or he just rushed it a little bit, or the guy missed the shot. So there's plenty to take away from that. I thought Jeremiah Fears was solid, 6 of 11. He missed a 3, 2 or 3 free throws. It was probably due a few more. 6 turnovers. Yeah, he had one in the first couple of minutes. There was some pretty average turnovers out there, of course, but that's what happens when you got high usage and you're getting picked up 90 the whole game. They're picking you up the whole court. The whole court. You don't get a moment off, and that's great for when you go into the league and these big guards are going to be getting into you. But you've got to adjust, and it makes sense that the ball is going to come loose at times if you're not ready to be manhandled the entire time. So we'll see, and I like what we saw. He was -9 in the plus-minus, but we lost the game, so it all makes sense that we were all pretty average. Lester Quinones, he had 26 minutes, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block, 2 of 7 shooting, missed all his threes, had 4 turnovers. He was 0 in the plus-minus. It was probably his worst game of Summer League. I think he would say that as well. He was fine, but he went looking for his shot. Makes sense, it's Summer League, but it wasn't his best showing by any means, and got a lot more of the ball handling responsibility when both point guards went out. So, that is one of those things, I guess. Keon Brooks was probably our second best player, maybe, outside Derik Queen. I thought he was really solid. He had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 assist, 5 of 9 shooting. He hit a 3-pointer, 5 of 8 from the free throw, and no turnovers. I liked how strong he looked. He looked like a grown man playing against kids, which I suppose he was. He had, some breakaway dunks. He had one where he went up and under and, out-muscled these guys for an and one. He looks solid and active, and I like Keon Brooks. I think he's a good player, and I wouldn't mind if we held on to him and he somehow found himself in a rotation. I think he plays that sort of hybrid, Najee, big-bodied, wing-type player, 3-4 type guy, and I don't mind that at all. I think he's got a spot in the league. Shoemate, he had 7 rebounds. He was active for that. An assist, a steal, a block, and 2 points in 15 minutes. He was fine. He didn't really get that much of an opportunity, but didn't do anything wrong when he was out there. He was active, getting boards. Hunter, he had 9 minutes, had 6 points, 2 of 5 shooting. He was fine. Plus 10 in the plus minus, and Shoemate was 13, in fact, which was the highest. So he was actually best on ground. And Hoggard, with the famous, he played 6 minutes and managed to get himself ejected by pushing what's his name, Sissoko into the crowd. He absolutely shoved him into the next week in defense of his point guard Jeremiah Fears, and it was a little bit chippy, but Summer League, show what you got, show a bit of gumption. I don't mind that. So unfortunately that meant that we didn't have any ball handlers, but you get that on the big jobs, I suppose, and you go out there and you defend these young guys and show that you're a team player. So, all in all, disappointing to lose. Plenty to see out of it. And I think we're probably nearing the end of seeing the top draft picks. I don't know if they go again. Maybe they do the Summer League closer, which is on probably Saturday or Sunday, I think, because the grand final's usually on the Monday. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe they don't play the OKC the game, and they give Trey Alexander a run who didn't play in this one. Dickinson had a rest as well. A few guys that were DMPs. Maybe they get a run, and then we roll them out for the last one. I don't know how that's. I thought it was a solid showing. Besides the first quarter, I thought we were better, and besides the last 5 minutes, I thought we were better. The third quarter, we didn't really turn the ball over much. It was early in the game and then late at the end. And that third quarter, we made a run and got us all the way back in the lead. So I like that resilience. I like that we're these third quarter specialists. Now we just need to become first, second, and fourth quarter specialists as well. But we'll see. I suppose you can't have it all. That's okay. But before we get off the Summer League, I tell you what, Hanson Yang, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 6 of 13, 3 threes, 3 turnovers, that's okay. He's a monster. He is an absolute monster. You can see that he's a good basketballer. And the age-old adage, you can't teach tall, is perfect for him, because he is. It looks like a diamond in the rough they've managed to go and get from the second tier of draft day 1. He looks like he's got something about him. So I reckon that's going to be a good little pickup for Portland there. So good on him for going and taking the punt and getting this big fella, and also opening up another market for the Portland Trailblazers with the big Chinese market, who are basketball mad. Not going to do you any troubles with by making sure you've got one of their up-and-coming stars on your team. So, I quite liked him. He's not bad, and I don't know how much he plays during the season. He probably plays a bit in the G League. He's still learning English. He's got a translator there that's helping him, but he understands the game. He's learning, and he's got all the tools to be successful. So who knows where this guy's going to be, but watch his space, I suppose, because I think he's going to carve himself out a role in this league for sure. So I think we'll change tact a little bit. We'll change pace. As I said at the start, we're going to just have a little bit of a chat about Jordan Poole, Saddiq Bey, to pack this one up, because we'll do another show after the OKC game. I think the acquisition of Jordan Poole, you trade CJ McCollum, average 20-odd points, and, you're getting a guy that averaged 20 points in Jordan Poole. He's a bit younger. He's got a couple of years in the contract. All the potential in the world. Left Golden State under a bit of a cloud after the Draymond Green carry-on. He then goes to Washington. Perhaps has days where he's fantastic, has days where he's not so good. Comes that number one option for the most part. I think there's a real opportunity here to play Robin to Zion's Batman. I genuinely mean that. I think we see all these depth charts and they're saying DeJounte Murray's the starting point guard. I get that, but he's got a torn Achilles, so he's not going to be there till January probably. He's probably not going to be at full strength until the end of Jan. Jordan Poole's going to be a starting point guard. He's going to be bringing the ball up. The ball's going to be in his hands. I think there's a real opportunity to bring in a great shooter, an off-the-dribble shooter, a guy that has won a championship, that has been in a winning culture under Willie Green's, one of his mentors in Steve Kerr. He knows how they want to play, and I think that's a great addition. I genuinely do. And look, it might be famous last words. Of course, we're on the 8th of July, and we're talking about this, but I think getting a guy like that fits right in the timeline with the other guys, with the young guys coming through. You get a starting lineup of Poole, Zion, Herb, Trey, and Missy, I guess, for the center, or I guess it's going to be Looney probably to start, and then Missy will come off the bench, either which way. I think it's solid. I think it's okay. I think Looney's going to be able to gobble some rebounds, particularly because we'll be shooting more threes, I anticipate. If Trey and Poole and Herb have anything to do about it. You've got Zion in there. You've got Looney, who understands how to get out of the way. I genuinely like the addition. I think it was a good trade. You had to get off CJ McCollum. He was on that last year of his contract and at the other end of his career. Going and getting a guy like Jordan Poole, I think, was a good addition, and I think he seems genuinely excited to be here. And when they interviewed Joe Dumas, he spoke to him. He said that they were thanking him. Him and Saddiq Bey were saying thanks for bringing me to New Orleans. What more can you want? You want guys that want to play here. And you want guys that have a bit of a chip on their shoulder, that want to show out. Because this year, the team is going to have a chip on its shoulder, because everyone has already written them off. From before the Derik Queen trade, where we traded off the draft pick, they were written off. So if you're going to come out and just let teams walk all over you and prove everyone right, well, I don't think that's the mentality that anyone wants from this team. It's definitely not the mentality that the fans deserve, and it's not the mentality the fans have. So they're going to have to come out and play as the underdogs and shock the world. Come out, like Zion said many years, I'm going to shock the world. You're going to have to. And I think Jordan Poole's one of those guys that has a real chance at a redemption arc. So we'll see. Now, another guy we've got, Saddiq Bey, good shooter, big unit, that wing-type player. Has always been one of those guys that has the potential to be great. He had a 50-point game in his earlier career. He's had a bit of issues with his knee, but seems to be good now. I don't mind that. I don't mind this acquisition. I think another big wing guy, he's a bit like the Keon Brooks mold, right? But he can score 50 points in an NBA game. It never hurts to have guys that can score the ball and that are strong and able to defend. The more guys, the more shooters that you can put around Zion, the better, because he'll find them. And the more spacing and offensive weapons that you have, the better. Zion, as much as we talk about all these offensive hubs, that seems to be the flavour of this season. Everyone's saying, Derik Queen's an offensive hub. Hanson Yang can be an offensive hub. Alperen Sengun's an offensive hub. Zion has to be our offensive hub. And I think he has been when we see him play. but we go as he goes. If he's healthy, he has to create. He's got to break down the defenders, he's got to score, and he's got to create for others. So I think it's a real opportunity for Zion to get that assist numbers right up, particularly with some good shooters, because if the defense collapses on him like it normally does, well, guys are just going to have to shoot threes like their layups because they're going to have no defenders on them at all. And if they don't collapse, all right, well, you can go one-on-one with Zion, and we know what happens there. So, I think they're both great additions. I'm looking forward to seeing them take the floor. Final thoughts before we get out of here. It's 25 minutes now. We've ticked over. Summer League, plenty to take away. I love Jeremiah Fear's attitude. I liked what Derik Queen did today. I thought he's much more active. Looks like that good offensive center that we thought he was. Starting to find his feet. And I like that we had a number of guys rock up today to come and watch. We saw most of the coaching staff was there. James Borrego was there. Dumas was sitting next to Zion. Zion's just got back from Greece. As we saw, he was part of the board of athletes for the Jordan brand, and he's looking pretty fit, to be fair. You can see it. He looks like he's in good nick at the moment. So looking forward to seeing him, start to ramp up as well. No doubt we'll see some thirst trap workout videos that he'll get into at some point where he's doing some windmill dunks or something like that. So I look forward to seeing that. The guys are locked in. They look engaged. The whole team's been there pretty much. Well, the healthy guys at least. And gosh, I have to be optimistic. I have to be. Because if we don't, then what's the point of watching it? Last season was awful. So the only way is up, I hope. So I'm going to leave it at that. Summer League continues with the back-to-back tomorrow against the Oklahoma City Thunder. A little bit earlier than the last game. It was a bit diabolical for the people in the Central Time. Sort of middle of the morning for me, but I've watched it on delay. Pretty much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. I would very much appreciate it as we continue to build. And, of course, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Lyle Swithenbank, LYLESWITHENBANK, as in bank. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can listen on your podcast app. Download us on there. Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, whatever you're on, we're on there. And, of course, this has been Flock. I'm your host, Lyle Swithenbank. Stay safe. And, of course, bye for now.